played in the scandal underlying the impeachment inquiry. Remember those two associates of Rudy Giuliani who were arrested? Well, a lawyer for one of them says his client is willing to tell investigators that Devin Nunes, the ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee, met with Ukraine's prosecutor, and they talked about investigating Joe and Hunter Biden. This was back in 2018. Late last night, a cache of documents became public. Put together, it is a paper trail that leads from Rudy Giuliani to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Those emails and records back up Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch's dramatic testimony last week about the smear campaign that was waged against her. And with 2 weeks of impeachment hearings behind us and lawmakers on recess, President Trump is trying to win over Republicans. He's buying them lunch. He's giving them access to Camp David. Up with me this morning, David Corn. He's the Washington bureau chief for Mother Jones. Neera Tanden heads the Center for American Progress. She is CAP's president and CEO. Kimberly Atkins is the senior Washington correspondent for WBUR. I should say David and Kimberly are both Msnbc political analysts. And also with us this morning from Washington is Philip Rucker. He's the White House bureau chief for the Washington Post. And I want to start things off this morning with that new reporting from several outlets, including NBC News, about Devin Nunes, the ranking member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. He has played a big role in the impeachment hearings, and we are learning he's played a big role in the scandal that's at the center of it as well. Once again, the headline here is that Lev Parnas, an associate of Rudy Giuliani who has been indicted, is willing to tell lawmakers Congressman Nunes met with an ex-Ukrainian official to get dirt on Joe and Hunter Biden. That is according to one of Lev Parnas' attorneys. Well, Lev Parnas is willing to say specifically that Congressman Nunes met with former Ukrainian Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin, who told Lev Parnas the two of them had a conversation in Vienna in 2018, and that with Derek Harvey, who is Devin Nunes' investigator, they were investigating the activities of Joe and Hunter Biden related to Burisma. I want to point out that at the time of the trip, Congressman Nunes was the chairman of the House Select Committee on Intelligence. Well, the framework of the Parnas-Nunes relationship was first reported by the Daily Beast on Wednesday of this week, and the very next day, it was entered into the record by Congressman Eric Swalwell.
Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to put into the record the Daily Beast story. Lev Parnas helped Rep. Devin Nunes' investigations from yesterday. First two paragraphs reading, Lev Parnas, an indicted associate of Rudy Giuliani, helped arrange meetings and calls in Europe for Rep. Devin Nunes in 2018, Parnas' lawyer Ed McMahon told the Daily Beast. Nunes' aide Derek Harvey participated in the meetings, the lawyer said, which were arranged to help Nunes' investigative work. McMahon didn't specify what those investigations entailed.
Without objection.
Mr. Chairman, you have been falsely accused throughout these proceedings by the ranking member as being a quote-unquote fact witness. Now, if this story is correct, the ranking member may have actually been projecting. And in fact, he may be the fact witness if he is working with indicted individuals around our investigation.
Phil Rucker, I want to start there with you, if I could. And Congressman Swalwell making the point there quite concisely, vividly, that Devin Nunes could be a fact witness here as we go forward. Your takeaway from what's being reported here by NBC, by CNN, by the Daily Beast about the role that he may have played?
Well, David, it's a significant development because of the role that Congressman Nunes has been playing throughout the impeachment inquiry. He's been the top Republican on that committee for day after day of hearings, helping shape the direction of that investigation and the public narrative about the case. But we should keep in mind that Nunes for years now has been a close ally of President Trump's. He's been doing the president's bidding on the House Intelligence Committee, both when he was the chairman and now as the ranking member. And so it shouldn't come as a surprise for him to be implicated in the situation with Ukraine, but it's something certainly that I think the Democrats on that committee are going to want to get to the bottom of.
And your attendant to that point, we remember well that nighttime visit that Devin Nunes, then the chairman, made to the White House, in which he shared information from the committee with the president. Your reaction to all of this, as you've watched the hearings unfold over these 2 weeks, this wrinkle, this latest development here?
Well, I think anyone who watched the hearings saw Devin Nunes take the role of basically a prosecutor for the president. And I think what's fascinating about this is you would think sometime in the last couple of weeks he might mention, oh, by the way, I had dealings with the man who was indicted by the U.S. government just a few weeks ago in relationship to this scandal right in front of us. And the fact that he was essentially hiding this from the American people as he was launching his attacks on career public servants, I think undermines, to the degree anyone needed to hear, additional undermining undermines the case of the Republicans, because essentially they're not just covering for Trump, right? Devin Nunes is essentially covering for himself. And I think the fact that he didn't say this to anybody is essentially a sense that he was, you know, corrupt as well.
This is part of something bigger, isn't it, David? I mean, you look at this trip that's been reported on by NBC, the Daily Beast, saying this was a 4 or 5 day trip. Derek Harvey, who used to work for the National Security Council, was on the trip for Austria as well. Daily Beast reporting it cost taxpayers $60,000 for at least this component of this errand into the wilderness. You were in the room. I mean, what do you make of hearing this now?
You know, this scandal is not an onion, it's a basket of onions. So you have to keep peeling one level to the next. There are so many components. I mean, the Lev Parnas angle, which involves Rudy Giuliani, might involve a Ukrainian oligarch named Dmitry Firtash and business deals, as well as the political campaign to get dirt on the Bidens and to help Trump prove a conspiracy theory that would absolve Russia of being involved in hacking the 2016 election. I mean, there are so many tentacles here. And, you know, I mean, I sat in the front row and I stared at Nunes for hours, and the idea...
I'm sorry, David.
Somebody has to do it. I do get paid.
You.
I do get paid to do this. It's my job.
Not coal-mining.
With him, it wasn't him. It was Jim Jordan. So maybe I need combat pay here. But just think that while this was going on, he knew that he had met with Shokin, who was fired for being corrupt, to try to get information to basically to fill out this conspiracy notion that Biden did something wrong in Ukraine and didn't do anything. It was telling that after the hearing was over, you know, all the Republicans run to the microphones to try to spin what happened, how it was a great day for the president. He was absent. He doesn't want to answer questions about this. And it may be one reason, I know I'm being long-winded here, why the Democrats may not be able to wrap this up quickly. There may be a lot more for them to dig out.
Another path to go
for us to know what really happened here.
Kimberly, let me ask you about this trove of documents that came out last night. American Oversight, this watchdog group, nonpartisan watchdog group, gets its